Buddy, it is almost 3:30. Oh, I lied, it is 3:30. So let me share my screen and let's go into presenter view. Oh, do you guys see all the ones on the bottom? Or is that just really presenter view?
Yep, no, we can see it.
Oh, okay. Well, is that okay? Because then I can know what's coming up next and that kind of helps me out. I'm just going to do it.
Go for it.
Um, okay. Today's mini training is how to keep virtual learning fun. I know, I feel like every training I've gone to this month, it always starts off with like, well, we didn't know we'd still be here, but we are. So I thought that what's a great topic to talk about when we start our Tuesday trainings again? It is how to try to keep virtual learning interesting. Um, okay, so first, thank you for joining us today. This training will be recorded and on our website, so you can always reference it later. The presentation will be about 30 minutes, and then at the end, we'll have 15 minutes to discuss. You guys can share examples of what you're doing that might work, and so on. If you have a question or comment, you can raise your hand or just put it in the chat box. We have other CDBS members who will politely stop me to get me to answer the question. Um, and oh, they'll be answered after the presentation, unless it's like a great question to the slide. I understand. I'll allow it. Um, so, and then when you speak, make sure you unmute yourself as everyone is muted. And I do have a handout with links that will be given to you guys at the end of the presentation. Okay, so here we go. How to keep virtual learning fun. As you see, I have started with a very cute Bitmoji of myself. These Bitmojis I think are hilarious, and they're such a great way to just to add to the whole virtual learning thing. On the handout, I have a few links that can show you how to put Bitmojis into lessons, and then also give you this prompt where you can add your Bitmoji to your computer, and then you can add them to little screen things. Oh gosh, I don't know if you can still see my face, but you can have this for yourself. You know, if you need to give your students some fun virtuals of your Bitmoji. Okay, so good afternoon. Um, First things first, virtual learning, keeping it fun. I mean, just getting creative in really any way that you can. Um, the Bitmojis, I mean, they have so many different. I've printed out some of my favorite ones. I also post them in the thing, but it says like be respectful, stay focused. These are just fun things where if you notice kids are, not paying attention as much, or they need to follow a direction, like they want to see your face or you want to see their face because you want their video showing. You can just like add them onto paper and put it onto your camera. Um, any fun things. I also just wanted to talk about Zoom because I know Zoom is like constantly updating now that everybody is using it. So if you're still using Zoom, make sure you're checking out their website because they do a lot of accessibility information on there. So you can get updated. I mean, every time yours is updated, you can go on the website and it's very easy to use. They have videos that explain how to put things, make things accessible. And then if you have questions, you can always come to us as we try to stay up to date on it as well. Um, so we're here for you guys. Okay. Oh, I keep pressing the arrow button. Okay. So first things first with virtual learning, it is all about the prep. Um, I think it is virtual learning is really not one for students with extensive support needs just to kind of wing it. It's really something where there needs to be a lot of communication, a lot of tactile uh, information and activities for the students, and it just really needs to be planned beforehand. So even worksheets, it's so important for teachers to send parents the worksheets before, because if parents need to, make the worksheets bigger, or if they want to change the font or put it on a different colored paper, the parents can now do some any last minute modifications that they might need to do in their house. Positive reinforcements, that's something huge. I know, when teaching, it would be like there were positive reinforcements for school and then for home. There were sometimes students didn't have the same positive reinforcements for both places. So if there's some stuff that really worked at school, I know it's been a year now almost, um, but communicate that to the parents. Be like, or explain what worked in the classroom, and then have it there. I work with one team that they noticed that the student loved a light box, and all of a sudden they were like, let's put this into all of the activities, and it worked great. The student is being way more active with the assignments because she gets to have a positive reinforcement during her whole activity at home. Accommodations and modifications are so important to have to keep learning virtually smoother. Oh, wow. A lot of grammar there. Um, and we have a whole training of accommodations and modifications and just simple ways that you can do that. And that's on our website. Um, Make sure that your child or student has a way to communicate to you, and then have a great way for them to say all done or need a break, because I know personally virtual learning is very draining, and there are times I get about halfway through and I just like can't look at a computer screen anymore. So it is so important to give breaks to students, let them have time to get up and go outside or walk around or do some sensory play. Um, I think we just really need to be not a little bit more just understanding of that the last 10 months have been really challenging. And so to keep virtual learning going strong, we just, need to be there for each other and take a break when we need a break. So, what makes virtual learning successful is when there is great communication. The teacher has to be able to talk to the parent, and the parent has to be able to talk to the teacher. You know, back in the olden days when we would show up to school, I mean, even though we do appreciate communication, sometimes if it doesn't happen, that's okay, because the student then gets to school, we can do the classwork, and then they go home and they do their activities at home. But virtual learning, we are including, we need everybody on board. So it is so important to keep very open communication between the teacher and parent. So it takes a team. I did these fun little shapes because, who doesn't love a good shape for virtual learning? And I love hearts. But it's just a nice little, I try to block up some good things that a teacher should focus on and a parent should focus on, to keep virtual learning successful. So, teachers, as I was saying before, prepping is going to just help you so much. I've been working with a lot of teachers who try to at least prep a good 2 weeks out. Because then, if you need any tactile equipment to send home, you're not asking a parent to come to the school every other day or even once a week. It's kind of nice to just say, like, you know, come by once every 2 weeks, once a month. Here is like a box of stuff that we're going to be working on. Um, and then with that, you can create a schedule where if, 10 to 11 every day, you're going to do reading in a small group. And so for 1 month, you can pick a book that you're going to focus on, and then use all the great stuff that's been on Zoom where you can, um, nowadays, you can like make the PowerPoint your background. You can, there's so many websites that are on our Wakelet page with free reading resources that you can put up. And, you can zoom in on words if you need to, focus on the pictures. But again, if you plan this out beforehand and give the family, a month, give them the uh, schedule for a month, then we can all be prepared and ready to go. Um, and then repetitive classes are totally fine, especially, for students with extensive support needs. It's really good to be repeating some lessons, even if it's once a week. You can read the same story. You can read the same story for a whole week, for a whole 2 weeks, and take different things out of it every time. Maybe the first time you just focus on naming a title and characters, and maybe the second time you're going to talk about their relationships, and maybe the next time you're going to talk about something more abstract of, what the student feels with that character or what they would have done in their position. Just, um, you know, I don't want teachers to be making it so hard on themselves to try to make virtual learning fun, where there are simple ways that you can, just keep the schedule going, keep the goals going, keep it all fun. And visuals. Who doesn't love a good visual? I love visuals. I love the tactile stuff. Um, Again, if you have a student who is using the picture exchange communication system or PEX, that's something that could be made and then given home, and then the student can have the images to communicate just the way that they would in school. Um, and I know this might be a lot of work, but hopefully, if everyone has their classroom aids at school and there's not students, hopefully now there's more time to balance making all of the equipment for the students. Um, so that's for the teacher. For the parent, if you are able to, it is so good to have a designated spot for learning. Um, I know personally for me working, I try so hard, like never to be in the bedroom. Barely I even sit on my living room couch because it's like that's like a place of relaxation, not a place to sit and do work. So it's so important for a student to have a place to do work, and know that that's where their work spot is, that's where all their equipment is, um, their modifications or accommodations that you might use for the student. It's so good to have a designated spot for the student, even if it has to be on the dining room table and you just like have a little box of all their goodies that has a home, and then you take it all out when it's time for school. um, and then lastly, communicate. It's so important to have a way for your child to communicate during virtual learning. Personally, Zoom drives me crazy when everyone's trying to talk and speaking over each other, and mics are getting muted, or internet's bad and it's getting all skippy. So it's really good to have a solid way for your child to be communicating at home, even if it's with the parent, and then the parent can communicate to the teacher. Um, Again, using pictures, using an AAC device. Um, I know there's like oh, the poll. I forgot to do the first poll. We can do polls on here, which are so great. And actually, Brian, can we do the first poll really quick? Just so I can see who is here. Oh, that's the second one. Is the first one still there with the um, people like who they are? Yes, that one. So a poll is a great way to get people involved. but sometimes this can be something hard for a student with lower vision to see. So, if a poll was going to be happening, this would be a great thing for a teacher to send home to the parent beforehand, like in an email. And then the parent can, either write it down, like write if if it's to a student, write one answer and one wrong answer, and then have the student choose from there. And wow, we have such a diverse group. We got like a couple people from everywhere. How awesome. Cool. Well, thank you. I am going to end the poll. No, Brian's going to end it, I think.
Sorry, a little too quick.
Oh, no, that's okay. Um, but thank you because the next slide is the giraffe poll. So I'm going to just move that over there. So I just wanted to give a little example for a slide on Zoom, especially for children who are deafblind or extensive support needs. We don't want to bombard it with so much information. So it's good to have a pretty simple sentence on, have a picture. Um, as you see, I have a picture of this giraffe and I have it with big borders so you can tell, it's like a good visual marker. And I ask a question: how tall are baby giraffes? So here's the second poll. The choices are 2 feet, 6 feet, or 20 feet. Oh gosh, and you guys can probably see the answer, huh? No one look at the answer. Okay, everyone looked at the answer. I'll allow it. It's okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you, other people, for voting for other choices. Okay, well, so this would be an example if a student wouldn't be able to participate in a poll, sending this question home to the parents beforehand, and then the parents on two flashcards and a really big permanent marker can do 6 feet and 20 feet. Um, and this can also change depending on what the student's goals might be or what they're capable of. If you want them to start reading numbers, maybe you can spell out SIX and 20. I don't know why I spelled out six. Um, but this could just be, whatever is, um, sorry. Do you take that away, Brian? I don't know if everyone can see that. Okay, there we go. Nope, it's still there. So, anyways, have them answer the question, and then um, find something to connect it with. So here, I looked up things that were about 6 feet, and there were things like a fridge, a really long Apple charger cord, a Christmas tree. And when I was looking this up, one of the answers was like a table runner. And that's not something that I'm going to put down for, for children in elementary school that will probably be getting a question like this, because you want them to be able to connect what they're learning in school to something that might even be at home. So, again, maybe we can do more with with the 6 feet of like trying to go find something that's 6 feet. Maybe going to the fridge and measuring them with the fridge, and just really, keeping it active, keeping it fun, and use the home. I think even though, there's a designated school spot, I think it's so important that we can use the home, use things that are right there, and, still make it fun. I know there are so many great teachers out there that have been doing such a great job with this. So that is great. And then just giving multiple things towards the student. So this is just a video. We don't need to watch it. But it was just a video I found of like a baby giraffe learning to walk. And then this is something that could again be a huge conversation And this all was just based off of one question where, now you can do like a book about giraffes, you can do math about 6 feet. And there's just so many things on ways to just keep the virtual learning fun. And even, throwing in a fun video, throwing in questions that are all online, making it all fun. Um, and then making it interactive. So you can do things like who can stretch up really tall, doing a giraffe walk where you're on your tippy toes, which is pretty challenging. Asking everyone to go get a toy, like if they have anything with a giraffe on it or have a toy giraffe, um, or what else is their favorite animal. Um, I was just telling my coworkers that I almost made this lesson be a really interactive lesson. And I was going to tell everyone, like, okay, go run, get your favorite animal. Like, it has to be on something in the house and go. But, it's like 4 on a Tuesday. So I know sometimes I just come to a training because I just want to listen. So I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to give you an out this time, but just want to let you know that was almost a possibility. But virtual learning, make it fun. It can still be interactive, still be physical, can still be a bunch of fun. Okay, so more ideas. So, with the multiple teams that I've been working with, we have found a lot of creative ways to make virtual learning fun and inclusive and just doable. Um, One team that I work with does multiple screens and they do a bunch. They have the main one in front of the student where she has the interpreter and the teacher pinned, which means that even though there's a bunch of screens of the students and everything, that the teacher and the interpreter won't ever leave the screen. So they're pinned or highlighted, they'll stay there and they'll stay big so she can see them. Then she has another screen behind her screen, and that has the work on it. And that work is magnified, it's zoomed up, so she's able to see it when needed. And then to her right, she has another screen, and that has all of her classmates there. And the mom was really adamant about her daughter being able to see her classmates because she's in a more inclusive setting and she really wanted her to still be involved and see her classmates also attending the class. And then the parent also has an iPad that they use for the eyes of the therapists. So when this student does O&M, and she might have to be doing, like, marching in place or jumping jacks, they can put the iPad on the ground so the O&M can see her feet, um, while the student can still see the O&M on the screen. So, it's a super intricate method, but it works for this family. It works for what their goals were, what they wanted out of virtual learning, and so they made that happen. Tangible activities. This is a great thing, especially for students who are deaf blind. I recently, last week, just sat into a class where they made like a solar system in a water bottle. And I know they're here. So hopefully they can talk about that when we get into our discussion because it was so cool. And it looked really simple, like it was a water bottle and maybe cotton balls. I wasn't quite sure what was in the middle of the water bottle and food dye. It was stuff that is common around the home. And it was a fun activity that I'm pretty sure the parents enjoyed just as much as the students. Giving your child time. I know virtual learning, you're kind of just like, let's get in and out. You have an hour, you want to go. You don't really sit there and eat lunch with everybody anymore. It's kind of a time constraint. So you still need to give your child time. Um, I said this again in the accommodations and modifications training, I think. Yeah, I did, where giving your child 10 seconds to answer is a must. Um, their children need that time to, hear the question, absorb it, and then come up with an answer and respond to you. And that's a lot of stuff to do. And I know we all feel rushed, but take the time. We can all use that time. And then inclusion, like I said before, with the multiple screens, it was just so nice that she was able to have all of her classmates there and be able to see them and they can see her. Um, and I know some other people that do like an after school, there's like this after school Zumba. There's some um, like lunch buddies that have been kind of getting together just like through Zoom. And it's just little things like that where at school we were so easily, all going to recess together or lunch together and having those times that we're not really having anymore. And so sometimes just being on Zoom and eating while your friend is there too can really, keep virtual learning bearable. And then movies together. This was something else that one of my teams did at the end of the year last year, where they would like all watch Frozen together, and the teacher had it and shared her screen, and then everyone was there, and then they could bring snacks or be in their pajamas. I think they even had some spirit days where everyone dressed up. Um, One of my favorite virtual activities is doing a scavenger hunt around the house. And that is something that, again, is just interactive. It's fun. And then you get to show things in your house, which I think is really fun that it's such a new way. Because you know how like there was a show and tell at school and you would bring something from your home, but now you can like show anything in your house. It's really like kind of bringing a personal touch to learning. So, and bringing something to share. This is another thing that you know you you're everywhere. You're right at your house. You can bring your computer to maybe your favorite spot. Whatever you can want to do. There are so many creative things, um, and I'm hoping I'm already finishing a little early, but I'm really hoping that everyone could say some great things that have been working. Maybe if you have any areas that have been more challenging for you and you want some help, you want a sounding board, that we're all just kind of here to talk. So I am going to stop my share a couple minutes before stop share. Um, and if you want, let's see those beautiful faces.
Okay, I'm gonna stop recording.
Julie, your picture, I always feel like it's you, so I keep looking to smile at you. But yeah, so how has virtual learning been going for people?